All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. We're excited to talk to you guys about our Masters of Arts in Bioethics and Medical Humanities at Case Western Reserve University. I just want to check right now to make sure everybody can hear me. So if someone can comment in the Q&A or the chat feature just to say we can hear you, that'd be really great. I don't want to be talking and have no one hear me. So if you could just let us know really quick that you can hear us, we'd appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. We can hear you. Wonderful. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, all right. So my name is Dr. Leah Jeanette. I'm your moderator today, and I just kind of want to introduce our agenda for our webinar. So first thing we're going to do is introduce you to Case Western Reserve University and talk a little bit about what makes our university so spectacular. From there, we'll talk about our master's program and then kind of get into more of the minutia, program outcomes, including student life, what we call student assistantships as part of our financial aid, and then application process and deadlines. And as you guys think of questions, feel free to submit through the Q&A. We'll continue to check that throughout the webinar, and at the very end, we'll do a whole section of questions. So, all right, I'd like to introduce Dr. Eileen Anderson-Fye. She is the director of our master's program here at Case. She's also the director of the Medicine, Society, and Culture concentration within our program. She's also co-director of our newly launched, relaunch of our PhD in bioethics, and an associate professor here in the department. So Dr. Anderson-Fye, over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to join and say we're so glad you joined us to learn a little bit about our program and the field of bioethics and medical humanities. So Case Western Reserve is an amazing university. It is highly ranked in all kinds of health fields. And one of the reasons why it's so exciting to be here in bioethics and medical humanities is because not only do we have such a powerhouse medical school and work with lots of different departments within the medical school, but we have partnerships with all these other programs around the campus in health law, social work, nursing, and even the arts and sciences. So it's a really intellectually exciting place to be, where from all different fields, people are really focused on health. And we're going to talk a little bit later about our close connections with 4 area hospital systems that you would participate in as a student. So why bioethics and medical humanities? These fields are actually booming right now. They're growing. We are in a time of history where more people need education and consulting on questions of ethics and humanities. So the healthcare industry touches us all, as you know, and there is the constant advancement with our technology and our AI, but some of our big questions now remain. How or why should we do something? Should we intervene or not? How do we ensure social justice distribution with our healthcare? And questions that are non-technical about behavioral health, about relationships, about community health. And these tend to take place at both a kind of larger policy level, whether that's literally national, regional, a hospital policy, or an individual level. There's a lot of clinical ethics going on, and clinical ethics is another booming field. So bioethics and medical humanities teaches you all kinds of different lenses to bring to really understand the value-laden questions at the heart of health, healthcare, global health, these sorts of questions. So we get the question a lot about, well, how does that, it's a very important area to think about, maybe to do some research in, but how does it help you in your career path? Something wonderful about it is that it is, by definition, interprofessional and multidisciplinary. It really helps communication with all sorts of other fields. And a lot of our students who come and do the program will go on to clinical professions. So lots of MDs, some DOs, other kinds of clinical careers, nursing, we've had naturopaths, all kinds of different clinical professions, dental ethics, also legal professions. We actually offer we offer a number of joint programs, which we'll talk about, but a number of our JDs are doing a joint MAJD. It's also a wonderful program to have to go on to law school. And it is, in fact, a AAMC enhancer program. We have students who go on in arts and humanities, maybe to do a PhD in anthropology or sociology or policy, or medical history or something in that area. We have people who go on to become clinical bioethicists or policy analyst bioethicists and academics. People who work in the hospitals doing clinical ethics. And this program brings in people from all different backgrounds, gives a 1-year very intensive experience, which I'm going to describe, and then you go on to all different fields. So a lot of students come and actually use this experience to discern what is the right field for me, what either subfield in medicine, because you'll get wide exposure, or I know I want to do something related to health, but I'm not sure what. This year is a really wonderful year to be able to think through your future career goals. So this is an exciting year for us in the program. It's our 25th anniversary. So we are having celebrations for the entire year, culminating, if you're in the next year's class, in October during Alumni Weekend, we're going to bring back a number of our alumni and have an incredibly exciting celebration, networking, discussions of the state of the art in the field. So it's a great year to come and join us. It is a 1-year program, which means you can do it in the 9-month academic year. It consists of 30 credit hours, over half of which are electives. The reason we do this is so you can really personalize the program to achieve your goals. And we'll talk about what the core courses are, what the requirements are, and the type of advising that you would have here to kind of shape your educational trajectory to meet your goals, either in research or career or practice. One of the most distinctive points of the program are our clinical ethics rotations. Every student will rotate for 80 hours per semester in one of our 4 major hospital systems, which we'll talk about as well. And you are there on the ground, rounding with ethicists and other kinds of healthcare providers, seeing what's going on in a hospital setting real time. And we like to start you in either a private or public hospital, and then have your second semester experience in a different one. So you can really see how different hospital systems work differently. We also have some incredible short-term study abroad immersion classes that count toward your elective. We have very personalized advising. The Department of Bioethics at Case Western Reserve is a dynamic and actually growing department of all kinds of different backgrounds. So we have faculty who are psychiatrists, who are family doctors, who are PhDs in social sciences. We have anthropologists, sociologists, psychologists. We have people who have a doctorate in philosophy or in bioethics. And we have faculty who are affiliated with us from all over the university and the region, including our faculty who you would work with embedded in the hospitals. So we have a very good track record of being able to match our students with an advisor who kind of has the kind of career trajectory that they're looking for, or who can help steer you in the right direction. We also have student assistantships available, which is very unusual at the master's level, where our master's students, they're awarded on a competitive basis, and you get some tuition remission depending on the number of hours. And our students are working in active research projects. I've published with several students who had those assistantships. Maybe you're assisting with teaching an undergraduate course, or assisting the program in other ways. So that's a very exciting component of the program as well. So we also offer 2 concentrations. So this is an additional kind of specialized deep dive. One of them, which about half of our students tend to elect, is the Medicine, Society, and Culture concentration. And this is a deep dive into medical humanities and social medicine. So one of your electives becomes a core course where you're looking through the major themes in medical humanities and social medicine, reading a variety of types of work from literature, sometimes film, using humanities, social sciences perspectives to really make sure you have a command of being able to understand them and of analytic argumentation. You also have a number of electives related to medicine, society, and culture. And in the spring, some of our students will, instead of doing a clinical rotation, will do a personalized practicum that you would work with your advisor and with me to kind of shape. So for example, some of our students who have gone on to PhD programs have worked on a research project where they become published authors, because that will best help them achieve their career goals. We have others who have worked at the Cleveland Department of Public Health or at our free clinic here near campus. So depending on what your particular interests are, you have a little bit of room to work with me and your advisor to shape your trajectory. And I'm happy to answer more questions about that at another time. We actually have entire webinars on each of these concentrations. Also, I should say our current students are really dynamic and wonderful and generous. And we can also connect you with a student who might have similar interests, so you can hear what it's like from a student who's in the program today. Our other concentration is research ethics. So this is a kind of parallel structure where you take an intensive research ethics core course, and your electives would be related to research ethics. And in the spring, instead of your clinical rotation, all research ethics concentrators have a practicum where you're actually working in an institutional review board at the university, at one of our hospital affiliates. And we give you that experience to understand the practice of research ethics, assessing things for assessing research proposals for ethics, and helping guide policy. Some of our students who have graduated with this concentration have gone on to work at or even run IRBs at other universities or institutions. There's also a very dynamic research ethics journal club. So we just had one on the coronavirus, actually. So we take contemporary topics, and it's actually student driven in the topics, controversial topics that students are particularly interested in, and that's required for research ethics concentrators, but a lot of our students take it just because it's riveting and interesting. So this is the structure of the curriculum. In the fall semester, everyone is taking our 6-credit Foundations of Bioethics 1 course. This course, which actually Dr. Jeanette is the course head for this, it rotates through, and feel free to jump in at any point, but we start out with making sure that all students have a common understanding of the major approaches to bioethics and medical humanities, and some of the methodology involved in empirical ethics and empirical humanities and social sciences. Then we really rotate through the major ethical questions of the life cycle. So we go from conception and birth through adolescent mental health and well-being, various issues of adulthood, through to death and dying. So you really get a sense of what are the major issues that come up in clinical practice, in policy, globally, throughout the life cycle. The way we approach this is it's a team-taught course. So let's say we're dealing with reproduction. You will read a lot of the bioethical controversies and bioethical issues. You will have practicing OBGYNs coming in who are living this every day. You might learn about the history of contraception and take a trip to our Dittrich Center for Medical History, which actually has the largest contraception collection in the world. So we try to take all of these issues and look at them from a holistic point of view. That is a shared class where the entire cohort is together. We then have required clinical ethics rotations that I mentioned, where you're in the hospital. And then you get 2 full electives if you're in the traditional program, and what we call a mini elective, a 1.5 credit. Some of these are contemporary topics. They're more creative, innovative courses or they're courses that don't require an entire semester of study, maybe just half a semester or an intensive kind of course. And they may be about bioethics in film, a very popular course. One of our wonderful faculty, the vice chair of the department, Dr. Goldenberg, taught last year was the bioethics of Star Trek. And it was remarkably rigorous, but really, really fun as well. So that's a kind of fun slot there. In medicine, society, and culture, you would take that fall foundations course, same as in research ethics. Your electives, you would just talk through with your advisor. And the mini elective for research ethics is the Research Ethics Journal Club. And for medicine, society, and culture is actually an opportunity, we call it an intellectual exercise where you are actually walking around the university, going to lectures in different fields, all related to medicine, society, and culture. We have optional events at the Cleveland Museum of Art and other area cultural institutions that also fulfill that requirement.
So I think just to add on to everything Dr. Anderson-Fye has shared, one of the great things about our program, like we talked about before, is that over half of the credits are electives. And so some of the electives that are offered in the fall are narrative medicine. We've had courses on neuroethics, public health ethics.
Health law is a very popular one.
Health law is very popular. And so they're both internal within our department and also external, so across the university. We've had students take a health disparities class from the Mandel School of Social Science. We've had students take business classes about the economics of healthcare and how that interacts with ethics.
And then in the spring, it's really set up very similarly. Everyone takes Foundations of Bioethics 2, and that course is, now that you have kind of the major approaches and the major issues throughout the human life cycle, we then talk about contemporary issues. So those might include, tonight I'm lecturing on global health ethics. Actually, I shouldn't say lecture, we do a lot of interactive work as well. We deal with stem cell, CRISPR, controversial topics, public health ethics. So it's really really a kind of major topics in the field overview for the spring semester. You continue your clinical ethics rotations, or you have one of your concentration specialties. And in the second semester, you're working with a mentor to do a 1.5 credit capstone paper on a topic of your particular interest. So that paper is a master's level capstone designed so that you can take a topic that you're interested in. It could be something you know you're interested in right now, or it could be something that you run across in the fall semester and are riveted, and you become an expert on that topic. So most students will do some sort of literature review. We've also had students this year who are in the process of publishing their capstone because they were so excellent. So that is really a personalized spring semester experience. In your electives, again, you can go ahead and choose spring electives, which there is an equally wide array as fall. And a lot of our students will choose to do a travel course, an international course, which we'll show you in a moment, or we have one in Yellowstone National Park that is also a travel elective. So our clinical ethics rotations take place at these amazing institutions, 3 of which are within walking distance of our campus and of our department. One of them you don't even have to go outside and you can get into. So that's University Hospitals of Cleveland. This network offers the region's largest network of primary care physicians, outpatient centers, and hospitals. It is especially known for pediatrics with Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. So a lot of our students love doing their rotations there. It also has fantastic neurology, neurosurgery, gynecology, and other fields. Students rotate in a variety of ICU and interdisciplinary meetings for things like neuroscience, cardiac, ethics committee meetings, transplant selection committee, living donor advocacy program, pediatric palliative care, animal research committee, a preemie clinic, etc. So the opportunities there are incredible. Most people are very familiar with the Cleveland Clinic. That was ranked the second best hospital system in the United States. It is one of our largest and internationally recognized healthcare systems, especially known for its top program in cardiology, also urology, gastroenterology, nephrology, and students can rotate in a variety of ICUs there as well, including neuro and cardiovascular. You can rotate with an ombudsman and our global patient service, a chemical dependency program, and palliative care. So again, a wide array of options. Those are our 2 private hospitals that we're affiliated in and have our faculty working in as well. Also, the Metro Health System is an incredible public hospital. It's our county hospital, and they are known for serving those with underinsurance and uninsured, as well as provide general and tertiary services for the acutely ill. It's a very mission-driven hospital as well. They're known particularly for their life flight care. They have one of the top burn units in the country, trauma care, physical medicine, and rehabilitation services. And there, students rotate in these areas, trauma and burn. And also, Metro Health provides the healthcare for our county jail. So our students will opt to rotate in the jail system and see jail healthcare. Some of them are also doing research in that. Music therapy, a TB clinic, pharmacy, ED, in a level 1 trauma center, inpatient and outpatient psychiatry, a skilled nursing facility, child life, labor, and delivery. So Metro is an incredible system that our students tend to love having the opportunity to be in. Our VA is the 4th largest in the country, and it's known for orthopedic care, rehabilitation, FES, spinal cord injury care, geriatrics, tumor rehabilitation, patient advocacy, geriatric rehabilitation wards, psych-ER. I was just talking with some of their deep brain stimulation folks. It's really a phenomenal hospital as well. So you would get the experience of being in 2 of these hospitals. And actually, Dr. Jeanette is the one who tries to match people up, both logistically, what is going to work for you, and also what are your passions, what are your interests, and she tries to place students at the place that would be the best fit for them. These are some of our study abroad courses. In the winter, we have a wonderful course in Costa Rica on health and healthcare perspectives in rural and urban settings. And there's also an inherent comparison of healthcare systems because the Costa Rican healthcare system is so different than the US. There are a couple of courses we run in the Yellowstone, in the Netherlands. I'm getting ahead of myself, on women's health, public health, drugs, and detention. So there are courses that run in the Netherlands over spring break and also in May. There's this one that we piloted last year. That's why I'm so excited about it, in Yellowstone National Park. I actually teach that class on environmental ethics and human health. We also have a spring break class in Paris, France, looking at cultural differences for beginning and end of life. And it's an incredibly immersive way to really understand cultural differences, even in 2 systems that both have biomedicine. Also, we're running a May term class in Granada, Spain this year, health and wellness through the lens of movies. So every year these courses change up a little bit. We've run courses in Brazil, and we always have new courses in development. So these tend to be 1, 2, or 3 weeks long, and they are part of your tuition as a 3-credit course. And there are additional travel fees for each one, but they're pretty reasonable for what you're getting. And actually, Dr. Jeanette, you have a lot of hats. She is our director of international programs, so she can tell you more details about these. As I mentioned earlier, we have lots of dual degree options, and we have students from all these programs active as MA students. Law, medicine, public health, genetic counseling, nursing, social work, and PhD in genetics in MA. And we have some other PhDs who are completing the MA as well. You do need to apply to each program and be accepted independently, and we're happy to talk to you more about that. Our program outcomes we've been tracking with our over 600 alum. You can see that our students go on to study in different areas. Again, lots of MDs, other kinds of clinical programs, law, business, nonprofit specialists, different sorts of PhD programs. And this is just an example of the places that our students go. The full list wouldn't fit on the slide. And you can see the kind of diverse career paths that our students take. Some go on to be anthropologists, other kinds of professors, data analysts, business analysts, do case management. We've had students go on to be chaplains and clinical ethicists, genetic counselors, IRB specialists, and on and on. You can read the rest of that list. And again, not a full list. One thing that a lot of our students do that I don't see there also is we have a number of people go on to work at local, national, and international nonprofits. Students go on to work at all different kinds of universities, hospitals, and research centers, businesses, and the government. We have students who go on to work for public health departments or the CDC, things like this. So it is a wonderful opportunity to really dig in, learn a broad field, and hone in on what you want to do. And we will do our best to help launch you. It is a wonderful place to live. Cleveland, Ohio sometimes gets a bad rap in the national media, but it is an amazing place to be and live. It's ranked as one of the country's most livable cities, and it's one of the top 10 for young professionals. It's a mid-sized city that is known for University Circle, right where the university is, which houses a number of world-class museums. Our Cleveland Museum of Art, which we actually have partnerships with through our department, was ranked number 2 in the nation this year after the Met. So it's an incredibly impressive and wonderful museum, and it's free to you as a student to go in. We've got a natural history museum, contemporary art museum. There's tons of galleries and theater district. Our Playhouse Square is the second largest theater district in the United States after New York City. First run plays after Broadway are available to you as a student right down the street for, very inexpensive. I actually had friends drive in, and one flew in from New York City to see Hamilton because the tickets were a teeny tiny fraction of what they were in New York. So it's just really remarkable. A lot of our students actually love to plan outings to these various places, including our world-class sports teams. We are very lucky to have football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, all sorts of sports. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a place that most of our students will want to go see. And we also have a phenomenal orchestra right across the street, and you can get $10 student tickets to what is usually ranked as the 3rd best orchestra in the entire world. We also do some programming with them, actually. We're piloting with our medical students and some of our MA students some listening programming in our medical humanities area. We also have this, not only Lake Erie, which is amazing and beautiful, but the Cleveland Metro Parks are one of the largest chains of parks right near the university, and they are stunningly beautiful. We also have a national park, Cuyahoga Valley National Park, only about a half an hour away. So a lot of our students make use of that. A fun thing about our students is that they tend to form a strong cohort. Even though many of our students, some are coming in right out of undergrad, some have been out working in the world for a little bit and then come back to us. Some are doing dual degrees, and some come back to us mid-career to retool or even after retirement. So we have a wide diversity of students who come to us, but there tends to be a strong identity in our program. So the people organize intramural sports teams. There's a picnic I see there at actually a university farm, a beautiful area that the university owns about 20 minutes away that you can take a shuttle to. Sports events, as I mentioned, there's some of our students at the Cavs. And there's also a picture of our students at the American Society for Bioethics and Humanities. We actually have travel grant competition where our students can go to the national meeting of the American Society for Bioethics and Humanities and hear cutting edge research and really be involved in what is going on today in bioethics and humanities. And it's an amazing place for networking also. So we tend to have the largest student presence in the country. And because it's our 25th reunion year, we're also going to have a big celebration this October at that meeting. We are unusual in that at the master's level, as we mentioned before, we do offer these student assistantships, which give you some amazing opportunities for professional development and to really get to know your faculty and staff. Financial aid, well, I should say though, all of our students really get to know our faculty and staff. It's a very warm, welcoming department where when we hire people, we're looking for people who are both research active, world-class scholars, and all of our faculty are that, but they also care passionately about students and education. We have the regular financial aid options as well, and a very good financial aid office that you can connect with, fill out the FAFSA. And graduate studies can give you information on what is next year's tuition. And you can speak with financial aid as well about grants, loans, scholarships, etc. The application process, why don't I turn it over to you, Dr. Jeanette, to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, our application process, while there seems to be a lot on this list, we don't think of it as too overwhelming by any means. So when students submit a completed application package, we're looking for the completed application, which is done online. There's official transcripts, of course, to be sent from all undergraduate, graduate, any credit earned through university levels or college level education. Standardized graduate level tests are required. Because our students are coming from such a diverse background and interests, and going on to a lot of different areas, we accept basically any graduate level test. So while we have listed here GRE, the MAT test, MCAT, LSAT, GMAT, we've also accepted DCAT for dental schools, PCAT for pharmacy. So we're pretty open. We also ask students to submit a personal essay. What we're looking for in that personal essay is to see that, one, you're interested in bioethics and medical humanities, and also how does our program fit into your career path. So it's, making sure that you're a good fit for our program, but also that our program is a good fit for you. We also like to see a CV or a resume, and then 3 letters of recommendation, one of which we ask to be from a faculty member.
At least one.
Absolutely. So once we have that completed application, we then have it reviewed by one committee member and then interviewed with a committee member via phone or in person if you happen to be local. We pride ourselves on being fairly quick in our turnaround. So usually the thing we're waiting for is those letters of recommendation to come in. Once we receive those, we can move forward with the review and the interview process and get you a decision fairly quickly. When I say fairly quickly, within a week or 2 of that interview, we can get you our decision.
And you're also welcome to come and visit us. We're happy to help set up a visit if you want to interview in person and meet some of the faculty and current students and see where we are, walk around University Circle and get a feel for what your life would be like.
So we do have some important dates coming up that we just want to make sure students are aware of, or prospective students. So our first priority deadline is March 1. So this is where we really seek to have a 2-week turnaround with those completed applications. And also if there's any current undergrad students completing their integrated graduate studies application, that is also due on March 1st. Our second priority deadline is April 15th. If you're interested in receiving a student assistantship, we have to have your application materials in by June 1. And then ultimately our final deadline for fall 2020 is August 1st. We are excited as we continue to review applications and interview students to see where students see themselves in our program and how we can best partner with you in your career path. And then ultimately on August 21st, all of our students come together for our full day of orientation, where you'll get to know our faculty, get to know each other, and just be introduced to our program as current students to launch the school year.
That's one of my favorite days. I love orientation day. So that's an overview of our program. A little bit about the area. So please let us know if you have any questions. We're going to take a few minutes and you can use the chat feature to write in questions. And I'll have Dr. Jeanette read those questions and then we'll do our best to answer them. And I should say you are very welcome to contact us by email or phone to get more information. If you happen to be local, we're happy to set up a meeting time with you. And let us know what we can do to help you think about if this program is the right fit for you.
Yeah, so I have a question here. So do you have to start in the fall semester?
Great question. most of our students will start in the fall semester. Rather than say, there are some programs where it doesn't matter if you start in the fall or in the spring, in January, which is not spring in Cleveland, but it is beautiful. So for our program, yes, you really should start in the fall, and that's because of the foundations class. You really need that first semester before the second semester.
Yeah, and Foundations of Bioethics 1 is only offered in the fall, and so you have to take 1 before you take 2. So if you were to start in the spring, then you would actually be here for 3 semesters. And so that's something to keep in mind. Now, if that works for your schedule, that's something we can talk about. But yeah, we highly recommend starting in that fall semester.
What I will say is that some of our students will continue into the summer and have an August graduation date because some of them are working full-time or part-time and want to slow down some of what they're doing. Sometimes that's because of a dual degree. Sometimes it's because they want to do a particular travel course or other types of deep dives in the summertime.
All right, so we have another question. Are there any minimum GPA requirements that you look for in applicants? Can a high standardized score make up for it, or experience volunteering in the community, demonstrating a passion? So that's a wonderful question, Michelle. Thank you.
And so basically our admissions process is very individualized. So generally, I will say that actually our average GPA is very high, but if, we look at each transcript individually. So one pattern of student we have gotten over the years is a student who enters college thinking they're going to be go pre-med and takes something like organic chemistry and fails it or gets a D, and then decides maybe they want to find a different pathway and they're coming to this program to try and find it. We completely understand that. What we're looking for when we assess applications, as Dr. Jeanette said, is that we have a good fit. So we don't want to bring people who we don't have confidence can do the rigorous work. But we also understand that sometimes people have a really hard year during college, or they have one set of classes that they don't do well in, but the classes that would be more relevant to us, that maybe have more reading and writing or analytics, they do well. High standardized test scores, would definitely be taken into account. Volunteering is always a plus. And exactly, I love how this question says a passion, because that's, something we love and want to help to nurture. So we really look at the whole package. A related question we get a lot is, I bombed one of the sections on my MCAT. Is that a problem? Usually it's not a problem. If it is kind of the analytic section, we would really assess, we'd have to dive into that a little bit more, because there are a lot of reading and writing demands in this program. But we really look at the whole package. If you are interested in doing kind of a pre-assessment for admissions, I would be happy to talk with anyone about your individualized case.
That's absolutely true. And I would say the other thing we think about is, in regards to GPA, is I'm one of the folks who actually does the review, sometimes review or interview students. I actually look at the transcripts and see, what did you get A's in, right? What did you do well in, and can that be indicative of success of our program? So I think that really helps. So I have another question for you. What sets apart this particular program from other master's programs across the country? Because there's quite a number of master's programs.
That is a great question. And this program is really unique in the country. Not only is it perhaps actually the oldest with our I'm so excited to celebrate the 25th silver anniversary. But some of the components of this program are really unusual. One is this, this is not completely distinct, but the really interdisciplinary faculty that we have and are affiliated with. We have experts on such a wide range of field, people who have dedicated their lives to researching and practicing in these fields. The clinical rotations are one of the things that students tell us all the time. This is why I chose to come to your program instead of other programs, where you're also doing precepting, you're sitting down and reflecting with a clinical ethicist on what you're seeing. It's really a remarkable opportunity. We get comments a lot about the travel as well, and kind of the openness of being able to shape your curriculum and having the classes here at the university across the schools and departments to really have a lot of substance under your belt before your next step.
All right, so we have another question. How do students support each other during the one-year program?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. Hopefully you could see by those photos that our students really do tend to bond and form lifelong friendships. And I'm kind of laughing actually because one of our alum who now works in our department as a researcher is dating someone from our program. We cannot guarantee that, but it happens almost every year. But students get together in lots of different ways. We have a student lounge in our offices, and it's almost always filled with students studying together. We have students who will partner up and read each other's work and have study groups and help each other. So it's a highly competitive group of students, but we've been able to capture an ethos of cooperation rather than competition. We do not do curved grades. We of course, there's a variety of how people perform, but we would be delighted if every student excelled. And I think the students really feel that. And so instead of an ethos of competition, there's really an ethos of student cooperation. Another piece of our program by design is that we're bringing in students with lots of diverse educational experiences, professional experiences, and life experiences. So one of the primary benefits of this particular program, which this year we usually run about 60 students. Our demand is increasing, so we may expand that a little bit as we're adding more faculty to our department as well. But we have students learning from each other as well. So it's an incredible opportunity to network and to learn. We also have a student coordinator who is here for students and is a remarkable support and helps to organize activities. And so, for example, last year, one of our students really wanted to organize a kind of paint party where everyone was painting canvases, and our student coordinator helped her do that right in the middle of our department in our conference room. Different kinds of outings, things like that. So, you're not forced to spend time with your peers if you don't want to, but there are remarkable opportunities to do so. And it's really fun. This year, I've been hearing from some of our alum who have gone to visit each other. We have a number of international students, and they'll travel and see each other and have a free place to stay. So that I thought was pretty cool.
So I'm looking to see if we have any last questions before we wrap up our webinar. So I'm not seeing any pop up, but if you have any questions now or as you start your application, feel free to contact us. The best way to reach us is bioethics@case.edu. We're happy to either answer you via email or set up a time to talk one-on-one about your specific situation and specific questions you have and how this program can help in your career path.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.